Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me directly for pricing. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today, we're discussing a model launched in 1998 and built through 2003. This is the IWC GST Automatic Alarm, reference 3537-01, part of the new for 1998 IWC GST sports watch family. This model is 39.9 millimeters in diameter and 13.6 millimeters thick, 46 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip, and if you take the extreme outermost dimension, the rigid end links of the bracelet, it has a span of 50.7 millimeters across the wrist. The GSTs, as the name suggests, made in gold, steel, and titanium. This is the titanium model, media blasted surfacing, easily the most wearable and the most sporting. On my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, you can see the watch is compact. 39.9 for a sports complication today seems almost petite, so this watch will appeal to those with smaller wrists, a taste for tradition and discretion. The watch is also easily a vintage watch by the standards of today, and I'll explain why that is in a moment. I can recommend it on this bracelet, which does have a little bit of lateral flare for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters in circumference. Taking the watch and examining the bracelet. It was one of the standout features of the GST collection. Tolerances are tight enough that the bracelet still feels solid and contemporary. A lot of 90s bracelets feel rather ropey and loose today, not this one. You can see that every single link, and that on both sides of the bracelet, has a push-button quick-release system on the bottom, so every link can be removed for fine sizing and tailoring. You can see there's a little bit of a taper to the bracelet, which gives it an upscale look, and then we have a media-blasted clasp with a single trigger release to ensure security. Rolling over to the case, you can see the lugs are the standout features. They're somewhat stepped out from the case band, and the lug profiles are separate from the case itself. Both are media blasted, however, and I'm happy to say that the biggest advantage of media blasting is when you refinish a media blasted watch, provided there are no dents, just scratches and scuffs, you can media blast the surface again and create this roughened surface. You don't actually need to refinish it against a wheel and remove metal as you would on satin or polished cases. So this watch can be refinished without removing metal. Old school, you can see the IWC 1990s to early 2000s fish crown, the fish logo, rather than the later IWC Probus Scafusia motto crown. Screw down crown, 120 meters water resistant, genuine tritium patina dial. This is a real tritium fade dial. The hands are surface replacement superluminova, so they do glow, but the tritium dial is original, not photina, the real thing. This watch would have been built in the earlier phase of GST alarm production, 98 to 2000, as after 2000 IWC phased out the use of tritium on its watches. There's a ray-hot outboard to allow you to more easily gauge the minutes and seconds. This is also handy for setting the alarm. The dial base is black to resist glare. We have a white on black date disc that blends nicely into the dial, and you can see there's a stepped aperture, so you have a nice progressive jump from the dial down to the disc. It's not a straight cut. Minimal printing and a handsome workman-like typeface. And how much do you love this vintage style IWC International Watch Co. script vaulted across the top? Compact size, vintage logo, tritium dial, more than 2 decades old. This is a vintage watch. Inside the case, underneath a screw-down case back, we have a JLC 918 automatic movement, doing business as the IWC caliber 917. Bidirectional automatic winding with a 44 to 45 hour power reserve. The 22 jewel movement is an auto winder with a alarm system and a semi-quick set date. It is a high horology movement in a mid-market watch, which gives this watch a unique flair and distinction not found on standard IWC models of the time. You wind and you set the watch using the crown up at 2 o'clock, and we may as well set the watch, just get a sense of how it sounds. It will sound off for about 20 seconds when fully wound. Now, I promised you a semi-quick set date, and I should probably demonstrate what I mean by that. Rather than simply forcing you to wheel the hands around, but not quite as convenient as a conventional Rolex-style quick set, we have the system whereby you can back through midnight in a seesaw fashion and incrementally advance the date. And that is called a semi-quick set date. And as this movement architecture dates back to 1969 with the caliber 916, we do have a few vintage features here, but it does have a modern 4 Hz beat rate. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. And here we are with the Luminova service replacement hands. The rest of the dial is original factory tritium.